Hello everyone, welcome to this video on area. Now today we are learning to use formal units to measure the area of rectangles. The formal units we'll be using today are square centimeters. You might have seen that written before. And we'll also be talking about square meters. Two formal units to measure the area of spaces. So what is area? Area is the size of a surface, so the amount of space taken up by a shape or a surface. So you can see here that I have two different rectangles, and both of them take up different amounts of space. Now, one very simple way I can check which rectangle has the larger area is by placing one on top of the other. And it's very clear here that the blue rectangle definitely takes up a lot more space than the green rectangle. So just by looking at it, I can tell that the blue rectangle has a larger area than the green rectangle. What we'll be learning to do today is to use formal units to measure the area of rectangles. So the first unit that we're going to be looking at, square units, we'll be looking at square centimeters. Now a square centimeter, you can see right here, it's a square where each side of the square is exactly 1 centimeter. So 1 centimeter on this side, 1 centimeter on this side, 1 centimeter on this side, and 1 centimeter on this side. And we're able to use it to measure the area of a rectangle. Now you can see here that I have a 2D shape, this pink one right here, and it's on my grid paper. Now my grid paper has a whole lot of square centimeters. Each one of those squares there has a side of 1 centimeter all the way around. So it's as simple as counting how many square centimeters are inside my 2D shape to figure out its area. So I'll use a different color so we can do this together. So let's count together. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 square centimeters inside my 2D shape boundary here. So I would say that this shape has an area of 9 square centimeters. Now this here is how you write square centimeters. It's centimeters with a little 2 at the top. And you would have noticed that from the beginning of my video. Let's try another one together. This shape has a different area to the one that you just saw, but we calculate the area in the same way. We count how many square centimeters are inside the boundary of the shape or inside the shape. So we go along and count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This one has an area of 14 square centimeters. Now remember that way to write it, centimeters with the tiny 2 at the top, square centimeters. And you can see that it's very easy to calculate. We can just count them up. Now you will find that different shapes often have the same area, but they look different. If we look at this one along the top here, the area of that long rectangle is 9 square centimeters because it has 9 square centimeters inside the boundary of the 2D shape. Whereas this one here also has an area of 9 square centimeters. Very different looking shapes, but they have the same area. They take up the same amount of space. This one here also has an area of 9 square centimeters. So shapes can look very different and still take up the same amount of space. My very first challenge in this video for you is to grab the grid paper that I have given you, and you are going to use a ruler. Very important that when we're dealing with shapes and area that we use a ruler to create those shapes. You're going to use a ruler to create a series of shapes which have the same area, take up the same amount of space, but look different. So you can decide, actually I will give it to you. I think we will decide that we will go with, let's say, 10 square centimeters. So each of the shapes that you create on your grid paper using your ruler will have the same area of 10 square centimeters, but they will look very different. Now you will use a ruler. I'm just going to do it on here so you can see what it would look like, but it's going to be a bit shaky because I don't have a ruler with me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is one shape that you can see has the area of 10 square centimeters, because inside the shape I created there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 square centimeters in there. And I would write just underneath 10 square centimeters, so you can demonstrate to me that you understand that. So pause this video. I want you to create at least 4 different shapes with the same area. See how you go. Awesome, well done. Now I'm just going to show you a little trick, because sometimes shapes are really big. Like you can see this one here, there are a lot of square centimeters inside this shape, and it would take a very long time to count that up. This is where our times tables facts that we know come in handy. So we can count all of the squares inside the shape, or we can use this special trick. We can count on a rectangle. You can count the squares along the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you count the squares down one side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you can multiply those two numbers, and that will tell you how many squares are inside the shape. So we know our 5 times tables. We know that 5 times 8 equals 40. So the area of this very large rectangle is 40 centimeters, square centimeters, written like that. Okay. Now I also need to let you know that another square unit of measurement is square meters. Now you can see here that a square meter, it's a bit tricky to see on the screen, but a square meter is a square where each side is 1 meter in length. We would use square meters to measure the area of much larger spaces. For example, the primary quad. You would not want to be out in the primary quad measuring with square centimeters. It would take you a very long time. So we have larger units of measurement to measure larger spaces, the area of larger spaces. You can see this dog here is sitting inside 1 square meter. Each side of this square is 1 meter in length. So it's 1 square meter. I want you to have a little think about some other spaces that you would measure with a square meter. Yeah, great, well done. Well, I hope you can see today the 2 different formal units of measurement that we can use when measuring area: square centimeters and square meters.